And remember, don't forget to subscribe, follow, depending on which platform you're on, and give us a like as well. Let us know what you thought about this show. It gives me the absolute pleasure to introduce Freddie Rappina onto the Business of Wealth show. Freddie, welcome, welcome, welcome.
This is great. Thank you so much for having me.
You're most welcome. Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate your time. Now, Freddie, before we get into this, often I ask about our guests to tell us about their entrepreneurial background, entrepreneurial journey. What's been the journey for you? How did you start your entrepreneurial journey? What was your background before that?
Oh, actually, I'm a retired police officer. So I started, I was started when I was in my early 20s as a police officer, and
Okay.
around my 12th, 13th year on the police force, I wanted to start my own business and start my own financial firm. And I wanted to start off I wanted to start out small, and so I had an easy transition when I was finished at the 20-year mark to just do wealth advising full time, and it wound up being getting pretty big pretty quick on me. So around my 12th year, I had basically two careers there for around 8 years. My my office was right next to the police station, and I was literally running back and forth across the street. After my shift was over. So it was no, it was a good time though. Oh,
It's a transition point. It's an 8-year transition point for
yes, it was. There was definitely doing two careers there, two full time careers for a bunch of years. But
what was that
you know,
transition like? Because for a lot of entrepreneurs, those starting up, quitting their job and moving into something different, it can be a bit of a scary proposition. And
yes,
what was it like for you?
I would say easier for me
Mm,
because I felt like I was able to take more risk um, with my business because I had the income
right.
from the police department. So I was able to reinvest easily. I was able to make mistakes and then just be like, oh man, that didn't work out, and just kind of keep moving forward. So I like to operate from a position of strength,
Mm.
and I felt like that was a better transition for me. For other people, like the whole adage of just burning all the ships, and that's certainly another way to go. I just did not do that.
Yeah, that's a smart way. Not everyone does that. Tell us about what is it you do now and why is that work so important?
Yeah, so I, I want people to understand that when it comes to wealth building, there are two different games. All right. And I want to be part of the solution, especially here in the United States, where the wealth gap is just becoming so prevalent and so few are running away with so much. And I don't begrudge them for that. I just believe the education is poor when it comes to actually building wealth, um and people need to understand that there are two games where, and I call them checkers and chess. So in our practice, we want to work with people that want to play chess and want to build wealth for themselves and their families. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to end up being a billionaire. It just means you're going to, hopefully end up being a lot better off than you were, and establish some freedom for yourself where you're able to do what you want to do when you want to do it with whom you want to do it with. So that's the goal of our practice is to in our firm to help those clients achieve those goals.
So what I'm hearing you say, and clarify if I'm wrong,
Mhm.
you help your clients to create a roadmap that they can follow or implement, and it leads them to create the lifestyle they want or the financial freedom they want if that's what they desire.
Yeah, so it's the guide. So we help guide them through that process, and um, work in a corner. We are fiduciaries. We have to work in the best interest of our clients.
Uh,
So and but it's really being more of that guide and helping them. But they have to have the right mindset. That's the hard part for them to switch from that feudal checkers mindset, in my opinion, over to that chess mindset where you have the opportunity to be able to build more more substantial wealth, especially here in the US.
So thank you. When you talk about checkers and chess,
Mhm.
the chess I do understand, which is it seems to me more of a strategic thought uh, through process to
Mhm.
get to the end game. What is the checkers then? Is it just people moving things around for the sake of it, or not knowing what they're doing?
A little bit. It's more about people. I don't say there's anything wrong with checkers. I want to be clear about that. There's nothing wrong with checkers. The expectation of what you can achieve with the checkers in this analogy is the problem, in my opinion. So checkers is doing kind of what the proverbial they tell you you should be doing, and that's saving diligently in just retirement accounts or brokerage accounts, and say and just waiting for compound interest, waiting 30 years for a great a good return on your money, and eventually you'll have enough money to where you can draw a percentage of that income to fund your lifestyle if you are still physically able to do that, or even just a live period by the time those numbers actually reach that level. It's and but my problem with is that's not what they're doing. It's what they're doing is playing chess. And I don't want people to just put money in banks. Putting money in banks is okay, but I want them to then turn around and do what the bank is doing. I don't want people to just put their money in mutual funds, ETFs, any investment based, market based asset, and just stop there. I want them to do that,
Mm,
but then do what the investment companies are doing, right? Not just put money towards insurance policies, do what the insurance companies are doing. Um, so it's really, and I see it as like a very paternalistic system, but not from a place of like evil, right? Not like, not, like I don't think there's like puppet masters with a cat, like, like trying to take over the world. No, it's just from the standpoint of, you know, Mac, this would be too hard for you.
mm,
Don't playing chess is too difficult. You will mess it up. Just continue to play checkers and leave the chess playing to the adults in the room. So that's kind of how I
right.
see the systems. And I want to be kind of a breath of fresh air for people and say, listen, no, you can play the same games that they're playing. You may not play it on the same scale, though, right?
Right.
So the scale is going to be different, but the strategies are, you know, the same or very similar.
I see what you mean. It's clearer now. So, yes, you are right. There is a system that's been set up that most people play by. So, at a very early age, we're told to go to school, study hard, get good grades, get a good secure job. We know these days there's no such thing as a good secure job. And we're told to work in that until you receive your whatever pension, we call it here in the UK, and then live from there. And start. Some people think they're going to start living their life from there. And you're saying, no, it doesn't have to be that way.
No, no, it doesn't have to be that way at all. I mean, but it does mean not having, that having a job is fine. You can
Yeah.
do it, but you also need to think, okay, how am I going to develop a surplus to be able to start playing the chess game, right? So, but you can do it from, with a job. With the business is a little bit easier, of course, but or a lot bit easier actually. But you can still do it with a job. It's just a mindset of just saving and saving and saving, and during that time, you're only making other people wealthy,
Right.
and
Right.
um, and it's not working. That's the
Yeah.
it's just not working. And you see it here in the U.S. a lot with with the wealth gap, where very few have so much more of the wealth, and if people just stop and just kind of look around and say like, wait a second, I'm being told to do this, but is it working,
Mm.
right? And when the answer is no, why are we continuing to do the same strategies that are clearly not working?
So why is that?
Um,
Why is it majority of population do that then? Why are they doing that?
Well, because it's what they know, it's what they've been told. Um, and but if you're going to play checkers, you can play a good game of checkers. You can retire. You can be happy. I'm not saying it can't be done.
Yeah,
I'm saying you can't become wealthy
right.
playing checkers. All right, you can have a nice lifestyle if that's what you want, and you can be happy. Just don't go screaming at the moon. Why do the rich keep getting richer and everybody else not? It's like because you're not playing the same game,
And it's all
and you know you have restrictions. If so, but it's really about people just kind of standing in line at that slaughterhouse and then wondering why it's happening to them. It's like, well,
so your book, I love the title, Playing the Wealth Game.
mhm.
Playing the Wealth Game, which is a fantastic title. Tell us about that. Well, why did you write this book?
I wanted it to be a self-discovery book. By the end of the book, people should know whether they are a checkers player, whether they are a chess player, and whether or not they wanted to switch or whether they wanted to stay where they are, um, and give them some help and you know some strategy
Yeah,
for those two different games. Yeah, but people again shouldn't be upset like why why the wealthy just keep getting more wealthy by the end of the book. They should understand that there are two different games.
mm,
So, and it's something that I just felt like needed to be said out loud because a lot of, there's 300,000, I looked it up, 300,000 licensed financial professionals of some form or fashion in the United States.
right.
If there were 300,000 financial professionals in the United States all giving good wealth building advice, wouldn't the wealth gap shrink?
You'd
Wouldn't
have,
it would wouldn't it narrow? Instead it's expanding, especially over the past 20, 30 years where it's more divided than ever. So it's again it's more I come from an evidence-based mindset. It's like, well, it's clearly not working, but people just continue to do it because it's what they've been told. It's all, and that's what they know.
So let me ask you this, Freddie, what led you to this then? Because at one period you were a police officer doing, serving. And what created that transition? What created the inquiry? What happened in your background? What created the thought pattern that actually this is a service that people need?
I would say that, the first time I got into a really, scary situation on the job, where things could have gone real bad real fast. And I was making at the time $18 an hour, 18 and change. And I'm like, wait a second. Nope. And not, not that I don't regret any of the time I spent on the police department. It's
Hmm.
just like, wait, I can do something about this. Once I came to the realization that I can do something about it, now I just needed to know what that was and started getting around more people that had the chess mindset. And once I started doing that, and I realized, it's not easy, but it's not rocket science either, and just continue to learn and continue to learn. Um, I think that helped out a lot, and led me towards my transition. And once you get the chess mindset, it is really hard to go back to checkers. I mean, it's like taking the red pill in the Matrix. It's you can't see the world the same way you did when you were like me, when you were working ungodly amount of hours overtime, saving money in these accounts, watching financial grass grow in these accounts, and you're like, wait, this is it? And like, this is all I got. And I gotta wait 30, 40 years to start enjoying my life. Like, so this is a graduation mentality, especially here in the US. As you pointed out, go to school, get a good, maybe go to college, get a good job, work for a million years, retire, and then you can start living your life. Oh, I actually want to enjoy my life now,
Mm,
not just 30 years from now.
that's right.
So developing the strategies to be able to do that now without sacrificing the future, that's key because I feel like too many people, yeah, they just say, it's just going to go straight carpe diem and just not care about the future. And that's not smart either. But developing strategies where you can enjoy both your lifestyle now and in the future, I think is very important.
Yeah, I agree with you because it took me many years to really understand the wealth game and how the rich and the wealthy play it. And I was one of those who took that pill that said, go to school, go to college, study hard. Yeah, I did all that, got an MBA, worked in corporate for 10 years and realized actually I'm not enjoying this. This is not where I see the rest of my life. So I thought the natural pattern would be to start a business. So I started a business, started working hard in that business. I thought all I've done is created another job. And
Hmm?
I had to go and really understand two things. One, build my business for wealth. Two, what am I going to diversify that cash flow into? So I went to into real estate property and I
Hmm?
had my businesses, invested heavily in real estate property. We do developments, we do a lot of investing here in London, and also into stocks and all these diversified, very diversified portfolio. But I keep coming back to that the system is set up for us not to be wealthy. It's set up, but how do people break through that matrix to say, hey, is that where you come in, Freddie?
Yeah, you just need to change the sentence. The system is set up for you to become wealthy.
Right, right, right.
As soon as you say that,
Yeah,
then you start focusing on the different strategies to be and the different avenues and different incentives that are there for you to become wealthy, especially here in the US. So, because I mean, the US tax code is it is magnificent once you look at it that way.
yeah. It's the
If
same as here
you
in the UK. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely the same.
if
So,
you look at it as an enemy, as a big ripoff, if you look at it at that with that lens, it's going to be that. But if you look at it as, man, they're like giving me all these rules that I just need to follow and invest my money in this way and do these strategies, and they don't tax very hard. Like it's just doing what they want you to do. Um, if you don't want to pay taxes, but of course, for a country, you can not choose not to, but you're just going to be taxed very heavily. So
mm,
once you switch your mindset, it changes a lot.
so it's a switch in mindset. So
Hmm?
tell me something. So when you have a prospect or a client, and how do you work with them? What is your process in order for them to get the outcome that they're looking for? Do you have a process in all of this?
I do. I like to understand the goals. So because I don't, money's a great tool, but the goals are what we're trying to achieve. So once I understand what's important the to the client, then we can start working on like, okay, how are we going to develop strategies to get there? So because too many wealth advisors or financial advisors, in my opinion, they focus on like things like products, tools. Like the goal isn't to if we're building a shed, the goal is to build the shed. The goal is not to have a hammer, a wrench, a screwdriver, or any of the other tools that we're going to need to build the shed. Um, so, but I feel like the financial industry focuses too much on the tools and not on the goal of the shed. So yeah, getting them to understand like just simple things like that, understanding their risk tolerance and their risk capacity. So those are two totally different things. Risk capacity is
Mm,
what they could risk, from a standpoint of financially what they could stand, and but their tolerance is what they emotionally and psychologically can have. So so once we understand that, it makes it a lot easier to kind of take the avenues. But the problem you run into is when it's like we can do this, and they say no, or we can do that. They say no, nothing like no. I'm like, well, you can't say no to like everything, right? So, because then then we're going nowhere. So it's just understanding that no, they're willing to be comfortably uncomfortable because switching from checkers to chess is definitely a mindset shift. So, um, But in my opinion, checkers is the more higher risk game because you're relying on employers, you're relying on future income that could go away any day. It just if
True.
that seems more scary to me than okay, we're going to develop a lot of different avenues for cash flow. This in case one goes down, you have several others, whether that's real estate, businesses, whatever's developing the cash flow. Um, but you need a good foothold first. It's not like you can have no money and decide you're going to be a chess player. It's like, okay, whoa, whoa, whoa. We need to start. You may need to start playing checkers first, but I want people to have the mindset of this isn't the end game. We're going to switch over as soon as we get the best foothold we can to be able to take on the other strategies.
Thanks, Freddie. Freddie, tell me something. The people come to you, are
Mhm.
they looking for passive income or cash flow on an ongoing basis, or are they looking to build wealth, or is it both?
Both, hopefully. I think there's the means to the end. The wealth will come with a lot of different types of cash flow, right? It's not the investments that make you rich, it's the income that makes you rich because the income is what you're going to use to fund your lifestyle,
Right.
right? And income is what I use to pay for my daughter's, you know, cheerleading team and my son's travel baseball team. It's not the investments, right? So as soon as people can understand that, it does make it a little bit easier. Like, we have to develop cash flow. And that's what they're doing. That's what that's what the companies are doing. That's what the governments are doing. That's what, but the biggest separator, the biggest thing that's going to differentiate somebody from a checkers player to a chess player is their attitude towards debt.
Okay.
So if you're a chess player, you want to stay the heck out of debt, all debt, including, paying off your house and everything else. Um, to play chess well. I'm sorry, play checkers well. And if you're going to play checkers, I want you to play it well. I want you to be debt free. If you're going to play chess, though, you actually want to get into as much debt as possible without over leveraging. And when I'm using debt in this context, I don't mean running your credit card up at the store. I mean using leverage to purchase cash flowing assets is going to service the debt and put money in your pocket. So I would say that's the biggest separator, and it's kind of non-negotiable when it comes to the games. I don't think you can play a good chess game without it, um, unless you already have the cash flow systems already set up, maybe. But if you don't, it's going to be really difficult to do without it. And so also very going to be very difficult to do without investing in real estate, investing in businesses, because those are two key things that develop cash flow.
So the assets that you help your clients to invest in, are they mostly real estate, stocks, businesses, or is there other vehicles that you would avail to them?
So I believe in diversifying. Okay, so having a diversified portfolio to me does not mean having stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and ETFs. That's
Okay.
all one thing. That's all market-based assets, right? That's all the market. Diversified for me means having those things, also having real estate investments, also having businesses, also having maybe commodities, like just things that don't correlate with each other as much, things that develop cash flow, things that are there for you not to use, like especially like market-based assets. A lot of that's going to be used for basically reserves for loans, right? So you have the money on paper, and you say to the lender, "Look how much money I have. I will put some skin in the game, but I want you to go into that back vault there and get a whole bunch of money out for me so we can go buy this piece of real estate, this business, whatever we're using to cash flow, and I'm going to pay you back with the income that that asset generates, not my own income. But if I had to pay you back, let's say something went wrong with the business, let's say something went wrong with the real estate, I have the ability to pay you back, but I don't want to use my assets. I want to use yours. And when you're doing that, you're playing a good chess game.
Fantastic. And ideally, your ideal client is who? Who are the types of people who come to you and say, "This is where my life is. This is where I want it to be." They must be fairly conscious in order to think, "I need to speak to Freddie because I'm not where I want to be, and I've been working hard for I don't know how many years." Ideally,
That's
picture.
yeah, that's the person, right? So it's let's say you're a doctor or some kind of professional, right? And let's use doctor for instance because it's easy because everybody knows what a doctor does. And you came out of school 22 years old, 23 years old, whatever it is. You had a mountain of student loan debt. You're working ungodly hours at the hospital, and you're saying to yourself, "This is all going to be worth it because several years down the road." I'm going to be making, three, $400,000 a year, whatever it is. I'm going to be a successful surgeon. What you pick the number, and I'm going to be living the lifestyle that I really want, right? So this is a means to an end. Fast forward those years, and that person has been playing checkers for so long. They've been, that now they have the great income. They're saving all kinds of money, but they're not feeling it. They're like, where's the wealth? Like, why do I feel like I'm constantly having to work and I just keep saving and saving and saving? Um, and That's because that person has done a real good job in their profession, has a really good job of creating income, has done a real good job saving, but they have not done a good job building wealth yet.
Mm.
So, and I say yet because you can. It's just you need to switch your mindset over from that checkers to that chess strategy where you start building a team of a wealth advisor, a tax professional, and developing those other strategies that are going to build more passive income from yourself for yourself and or recurring income and start increasing start increasing your lifestyle, and so maybe you don't have to work as many hours or you don't have to have the stress of you know all of that, or you can just go on bigger, more lavish vacations, whatever your goals are,
You're right.
which is going to be different for each individual person. But that's that's generally people we really like to work with.
Fantastic. Great answer. Listen, while we're on the subject, for those, before we start wrapping up, for those who want to get in contact with you, reach out to you, what is the best way, for them to learn more from you?
The best way, if the contact us, is go to the website optafinancial.com. That's OPTA financial.com. And just schedule a complimentary consultation. It's a big button right there in the middle of the screen. I think it's the top right corner. Um, and We can have a conversation and see if we're a good fit for each other. If people want to learn more about my philosophy and how I'm kind of saying things that other wealth advisors and financial advisors dare not say, they can read the book Playing the Wealth Game, which they can find on Amazon or at Barnes and Nobles. And it's been getting great reviews so far. It's been out a short time, which I'm really proud of. And Just kind of understand that there are two different games. Yes, you can play. Yes, you can choose to play either of the games.
Mm.
So it's just which one are you going to choose, and be successful at.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Freddie, for all your input, the insights you've given us here, and I really, really appreciate it. For those of you who want to really improve your wealth, grow your wealth, play the game the right way, you got a choice, checkers or chess. Chess seems to be the smart way, according to Freddie, according to myself. So check Freddie out, check out the book, book an appointment, speak to them. Let's see how they can help you to move your wealth forward. Freddie, thank you so much again. You take care until we speak again. Bye for now.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
You are most welcome.